It was a choice. In fact, you talked about Man of La Mancha. We discussed that. At that time, that was when I decided to take a step back from just making an album and going on tour and making an album and going on tour. I wanted to stay creative, but to do something different. And that's why I chose to go to Broadway for the first time. And that gave me a chance to step out from the treadmill, so to speak, of my life that I was on and really analyze what I wanted. And that's when I came to the realization that I wanted to be a mom. I wanted to keep working and be a performer, but I really wanted a family. So it took a while. It took a few years. I really made sure it wasn't just one of those whims, it's a family. It's not something you're going to walk away from. And so a few years later, in the early 90s is when I adopted my kids. And I adopted them knowing that I was going to take a step back from full-time touring. I didn't want to drag my kids all over the country on a tour bus. I wanted to kind of stop and be a mom and see how I could work and still be a mom. And that's when I first went to Vegas and sat down and did 8 shows a week for 2.5 years, because I could go to work when my kids were going to bed because they were little. And then, they got a little bit older and they were like, Mom, we don't like the fact that you're working every night. So that's when I dialed it back even more and I started to just work on the weekends, essentially going out and doing 2 and 3 weekends a month with my concert tour. And it kept me sane. It kept me grounded. It kept me grateful for the times that I did perform instead of being burnt out because I was just working all the time. And it kept a great balance in my life. But more importantly, it allowed me to be a mom to my kids full time and still be a singer and a performer. And then, I went back to doing, like, I went back in 2017, as I said, and went over to England and did the West End because my kids were up and grown and didn't need mommy to be there every day. So I managed to have the best of both worlds. I know a lot of moms can't do that. I know a lot of moms, you can't kind of step back from your job because if you do, the job goes away from you. It's just
Right.
how the world is. So I know that I was fortunate that I could do that, that I could step back and still have my career. And I'll always be grateful for my fans that have stuck with me and waited for me. And I'll have fans come to me and say, "Oh, I've waited 6 years for you to come to this area and perform." So I have very loyal fans, and I'm always grateful for that.